Welcome to another episode of Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson podcast. I'm very excited today that we're going to get to continue our career clarity series. And today we are talking about purpose aligned career. I need a mentor. And if you're someone who in your career as though you have things that you want to achieve, but you need clarity on how to do that. If you stick through to the very end today, we're going to actually talk about strategies that will help you to identify a mentor, that will help you to make your mentor sessions more meaningful, things that you can do to ensure that you're better aligned to fulfill your purpose, to achieve your career goals, and that you have the right strategy as it relates to mentorship to arrive there. And so I encourage you, pull out a pen, paper, your notepad, your iPad, whatever you use to take notes, I encourage you to pull that out. And I also encourage you to invite your colleagues, your friends, your family members, because this is going to help you to identify the right mentor for your career goals and your purpose. It's going to really give you insight on what to look for and the things to also avoid when you're seeking mentorship, relationships, and then also some strategies that will help you to really maximize those sessions that you have with your mentor for purpose aligned success, and how you can structure the conversation of your mentorship sessions. So don't go anywhere. Right after these sponsorship messages, we're going to jump right in to strategies that will help you to identify a mentor and to also make those sessions more meaningful. So stay right there. We'll be back after these special sponsorship messages.
Dreaming of writing a book, launching a podcast, or creating a digital course? Ready to finally align your career, creativity, and impact? The Purpose Aligned Life Premium Coaching Cohort is here to help you turn purpose into reality. You'll receive tailored services, a personalized one-on-one assessment, 10 weekly group sessions, and exclusive strategy session, all for your desired transformation.
And if you're interested in more information on the next cohort for the Purpose Aligned Premium Group Coaching Program, you can actually use the link that is in the chat to schedule a strategy call, and you'll have a Zoom. It gives you an opportunity to ask any questions that you desire to answer. You'll be able to find out whether or not the Purpose Aligned Life Premium Group Coaching Program is suited for you, and how you can begin to start to work towards those goals that you have of authoring a book, launching a podcast, or launching a coaching program. So we're going to get right into it today. We are talking about purpose aligned career. I need a mentor. And so we're continuing in our career clarity series. And I want to start first by talking about some strategies that will help you to identify the right mentor for your specific career goals and purpose. So if you want to identify the right mentor for your career goals and for your purpose, the first thing that you need to do is ensure that your career goals are written down. So you want to ensure that you have clear, succinct career goals, and you want to use the SMART goal model. So you want to be very specific regarding the goals, and you want to also ensure that you have a way to measure the goals that you have, and you can have goals that are going to stretch you but also be attainable. And you want to look at what is relevant for your bigger picture, and then the time frame that you want to do it in. You want to answer all those questions first, and have your purpose written down first before you start seeking a mentor, because that's going to help to guide your efforts. Now, I want you to type in the comments if you have any specific questions that you have in regards to mentors, because I want to be able to give you the insight to answer the questions that you have as we're talking today and as we are able to move forward today. So, again, you want to write down your purpose and you want to write down your career goals. And so, you want to ensure that your career goals and your purpose are written down first, because that's going to guide your efforts in seeking a mentor and when you initially meet with your mentor. So, I want you to start there. So, when you write down your goals and you write down your purpose, again, you can focus your efforts on what it is that you desire. So once you have those goals written down and you have your purpose written down, you want to identify mentors who are aligned with the goals that you are hoping to achieve. So we're going to just use, for an example, you are someone who is in the private sector and you have been, and we're going to use healthcare, for example. You're in the healthcare field and you desire to actually move from your position of providing direct care to a leadership role. That is your desired career goal. So what you want to do when you're starting to seek out mentors is you want to find individuals who have already accomplished what you are desiring to accomplish. Of course, if someone is going to mentor you, then they have to have the insight, the wisdom, the experience to be able to give you specific steps, specific strategies that will align with the goal that you are wanting to achieve. So again, you start with writing down your purpose, writing down your SMART goals, and then you are beginning to seek out mentors who have achieved what you're desiring to achieve. So where you start when you want to actually look for a mentor, there's several different ways that you can approach this. And to have some ideas on how to find a mentor, some of the mentors who you could utilize or who you could inquire with to see if they are someone who could be your mentor. You want to actually start with individuals who are perhaps prior directors, prior supervisors, prior, and if let's use the healthcare setting example that I just gave. So let's just say, for instance, you want to move into leadership in healthcare. Maybe there was someone who was a director in a different department that you at a hospital or at a clinic where you previously worked. Perhaps you have someone who is the administrator for your hospital or your clinic. And then also you can look to see if there are leaders, directors, administrators in other departments at your current organization. Now, you don't want to necessarily have your supervisor as a mentor because they are your direct supervisor. You're directly reporting to them. And it's not to say that it's not possible for them to mentor you, but you are already going to be speaking with your supervisor on a regular basis regarding your growth and your performance and your development. So you actually want to have a mentor who is not your direct supervisor. I recommend, if you wanted to have someone who was perhaps a director within your department, perhaps someone who has been a former administrator, they've moved on to another opportunity, and you admire them, you admire what they've done, what they're doing. That is how you want to approach seeking a mentor in terms of if you wanted to consider people who are in your current organization. Now, I want to talk about approaches that you could use if you are, let's just say, for instance, you have completed a master's program and you are looking to go into a leadership position. Using the same example that we used before, then you, in your case, can also look to speak with professors who have tenure in the healthcare space, those who have been directors previously. So you want to make sure that you have someone who is successful and has been successful in what you are desiring to achieve. Now, I also want to talk about approaches that you can utilize for outside of your organization, outside of your field, and I want to bring in LinkedIn because that is a great platform to help to identify mentors, to help you to identify individuals who have been successful and have achieved what you are desiring to achieve. So if you wanted to look on LinkedIn to help you to find a mentor, and I'm going to actually do this practically so that you can see. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go to LinkedIn, and let's just say, for example, that you are desiring to look for a leadership opportunity in healthcare. And I'm just going to put in Director of Healthcare Administration. And what I will do is I will actually share my screen. And because I want to practically show you how you can use LinkedIn to help you to identify mentors. So what I'm going to do, and if you have any specific questions on identifying mentors, then also I encourage you to put your questions in the chat, because as we're talking through all of these different approaches that you can use for LinkedIn, I want you to be able to see how you can use LinkedIn to help to find a mentor. Now, again, you want to start, like I said, you could start with a director who's in a different department. You can start with a director at a former organization where you worked, or maybe a director who previously worked at your organization and they took on an opportunity elsewhere. So I just want to ensure that you all have the opportunity to see this better. So what I'm doing on LinkedIn is I'm just simply searching for, on LinkedIn, searching for Director of Healthcare Administration. So you can see I've typed this in the tab. And what it's going to do is it's going to default probably to jobs, but you want to actually change it to people or groups. Now, first we're going to look at people, right? So I want to make sure, I'm just checking to make sure everyone can see this. So we're looking at people, right? So what you can do is you can filter this by people who are first, and I don't think I have any who are first. So so the people who are first, it's not healthcare administration, but there is an executive director at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs who is on the list, but I specifically was looking for Director of Healthcare Administration. So that person might be an option because the Department of Veterans Affairs is an agency. And I didn't look to see if this person was the healthcare administration, was within the healthcare portion of the Department of Veterans Affairs, or I didn't look to see that. But let me just go back to second. I'm going to go to second because I don't have any in my first who have healthcare administration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do second and third. And then I see that this person is a Director of Healthcare Administration Programs. And then I have someone who is the Director of Healthcare Administration. And I'm seeing different individuals with different roles. I see an administrative director. There's a Director of Healthcare Administration. So if you, and I'm not going to click on any of these, but I just want to point out that for any of the individuals, if you see a job title that is of interest to you, that aligns with what you're interested in doing, then you would simply click on their profile. If you're not connected, you would want to send them a message, let them know that you found their profile when you were looking for individuals who were, and you put in the title, who you were looking for, and you can say tell them what you admire about what you saw in their profile, and you would like to speak to them for an informational interview and potentially to talk to them about mentorship and mentoring you. You want to tell them that in your message to connect, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to connect with someone and then tell them after the fact. You need to tell them why you are requesting to connect with them. Now I am clicking on groups, right? Groups that have I've put in Director of Healthcare Administration. So maybe I want to change this, since I'm looking at groups. Maybe I want to change it to Healthcare Administration Leaders, perhaps. And see, so there's a Healthcare Leaders Association of Texas group, Healthcare Initiative, Hospital Administration Leadership Career Advice for Nursing Leaders. So you find the group that's relevant to what you want to do. I know I used healthcare as an example, but let me just use human resources, and I'm just going to do director, right? And then I'm going to probably change it to leaders. So there's a group that is the Vice President of Human Resources, Director of Human Resources, and Chief People Officer Club. So these are different ones that you can join. Now, if you have to look and see if the groups require that you meet their parameters. So maybe I'm going to type Human Resources Professionals, and then you find groups, and within those groups there's 1 million people in the HR professionals group, but you can find groups that have people who are in the area that you have a desire to attain. Join those groups, and you can even post and say, I'm in the healthcare space, or I'm in human resources and I'm desiring to receive a promotion within my career. I believe it's time for me to take on more more leadership opportunities, and I have a desire to serve at a greater capacity. Would you be interested in, having an informational interview with me and also discuss potentially being my mentor, right? The reason that you want to ask potentially being my mentor is because you want to make sure that when you speak with a person that you both align with each other. That is very important, that there's alignment there, and that you're not just, selecting someone for what they've achieved, but you want to make sure that their values, their leadership philosophy, those things align for you. Now, I want to talk, and I have to look at the comments because I don't see any questions at this point, but if you do have questions, I do want you to share those. Now, we are, again, for those of you who have joined recently, we're talking about purpose-aligned career. I need a mentor. And so we've continued in our Career Clarity series, and I want to get into the next area to help you with identifying a mentor, and that's what to look for and what to avoid. Now, for those of you who weren't here earlier, I want to recap where you want to start before you start finding mentors. Is you want to start by writing down your purpose and writing down your SMART goals. You want to start there, because if you want someone to mentor you, you have to have a direction that you're heading in. You have to have something that you're wanting to achieve before you have someone help you to achieve that. So write those things down first, and then you can start looking for a mentor. And when you're looking for a mentor, you want to find people who have achieved what it is that you're desiring to achieve. And you can start by speaking with people who are in your current organization and prior organizations. If you're a member of different groups or associations, you can find mentors there. We talked about how you can search on LinkedIn to look for mentors. And then you can also speak with other people who you know. Tell them what you're desiring to achieve. Tell them that you're looking for a mentor, and ask them if they have recommendations of maybe people who you can talk to. I have actually had informational interviews, and I told people what my goals were and what I was wanting to achieve, and I asked them for recommendations of who I needed to talk to, and as a result of that, ended up having new mentors. And I recommend that you have at least 2 or 3 mentors at any given point. So let's get into what you want to avoid and what you want to look for. Now, you want to specifically look for a person who has achieved what you are desiring to achieve. You know, someone's not going to be able to give you a clear pathway to success with something if they've never done it. So you want to find people who have achieved what you are desiring to achieve. And you also want to look for someone who has values that align with your values. And so I see that there is a comment, and I do appreciate the you all viewing, and I appreciate this compliment. Great show. Finding the right mentor can truly change your career direction. Absolutely. Having the right mentor can help you to achieve what you're desiring to achieve at an accelerated rate. It can help you to save time, save resources. It can help you to introduce efficiencies in working towards what you want to achieve. And I see that Kelly Grant says, such an important topic. How do you know when someone is the right mentor for you? Great question, Kelly. And that gets into what I was just beginning to talk about, the things that you look for and the things that you avoid. So one of the things that you can, or ways that you can know if a mentor is the right mentor for you, is have they achieved what you're desiring to achieve? Have they been successful, right? The next one is, do they value what you value? You can have someone who is successful, but they're not a person who has integrity. They're not a person who truly cares about other people. You don't want a mentor who does not have integrity. You don't want a mentor who doesn't align with your values, right? Because then you will create unnecessary issues for them and for yourself. You also want to have someone who can clearly and succinctly communicate strategies that will help you to achieve the goals that you have. And you also want to have a mentor who will stretch you even beyond what you're desiring to do. And so with a mentor, yes, they should be helping you with strategies to achieve your SMART goals that you have, but they should also be stretching you. They should be telling you about your blind spots. They should be telling you about areas that you may not have considered. And so those are some of the things that you want to look for. In terms of what you want to avoid, you want to avoid, and I mentioned this, you want to avoid people who don't have integrity. You want to avoid people who do not have a servant leadership heart and approach. You want to avoid people who don't care about people and who aren't compassionate, right? So it's very important to have the right mentor, and you want to ensure that the individual who you are having as your mentor, that they're also looking at your best interests. So you want someone who aligns in all of these areas, and someone who will encourage you to pursue and align with your purpose. Those things are all very important. So I see there's a question from Kathy. Thank you, Kathy, for viewing and for asking this question. How can someone find a mentor when they don't have a strong professional network? Kathy, that is an excellent question, and I'm so glad that you asked it, because earlier we talked about different approaches that you can use to identify a mentor. So what you do is you start where you are. So even if you don't have a very strong professional network, you can start with the people who you know. Perhaps you can speak with your friends, you can speak with family members. You can also speak with pastors, because they usually know people who have various industries. You can also join different associations, and you can also search on LinkedIn. So as I shared previously, I did not have anyone in my first connections, and let me actually share my screen again, because I want to really drive this home. You asked a really good question, Kathy, and other people who are watching this and who go back and who aren't watching the live now but go back and watch the replay might have that very same question. So I want to go back to LinkedIn, because when I looked up healthcare administration, and I use that as my first example because I had a client who was in the healthcare field, and she desired to move into she desired to move into leadership, and she had been in leadership in prior roles in another industry, but she had not been in healthcare. So I want to put healthcare administration back in my search, and I have it in groups now, but I'm going to change it to people, right? And as I mentioned before, I did not, and before I think I put healthcare administration director, I think is what I may have put, or director of healthcare administration, I think is what I had before. And in my first, I didn't have any in my first. So you may not have anyone in your immediate group of people and circle of people who you know, and you may not even have someone who's a first or second connection on LinkedIn, but you might have a third, right? So you want to start by searching. You start with the other measures, but when you do search on LinkedIn, you want to start by searching whatever title it is that you're hoping to attain, and then you start looking at profiles you see to help you with that. And then the other thing that you could do, as I mentioned earlier, is you can find groups. You can find groups and join groups, and perhaps you'll be able to have some observations within those groups. Now, I'm going to do post last, right? Because it would be a better approach to start with people and groups who have the title that you're desiring to elevate to, right? So in this case, we can see someone has posted, there's an opportunity that is available within this particular company. There's a senior director of practice administration. And so most of these posts might be about opportunities. Some of these posts might be about someone who is transitioning into a new position. So using the other approach that I shared is a better starting point. So great question, Kathy, and thank you so very much, Banter, for that compliment and for viewing, and thank you for sharing that this is an excellent live session and the mentorship topic is so important. So I want to actually give you another approach that you can use. You know, I think that sometimes we can do things that will simplify what we do. And I mentioned earlier asking people who are in the industry you are hoping to, in the type of role that you're hoping to elevate into. That's very important, using that approach. But I want to share something else that might be helpful for you. So let's do this. So on LinkedIn, and you can go to LinkedIn and you can search. So I want to also point out in LinkedIn, I talked earlier about there being, you know, various courses, and I do encourage all of you to consider mentoring someone and considering who you can mentor and who can mentor you. And so there's also courses on LinkedIn that give you insight on being a good mentor and becoming an inspiring mentor. So if you want insight on how to be a good mentor, there's a variety of courses that are on LinkedIn that you can explore. So I want to also encourage you to consider some other approaches too. And I want to share my screen. I'm going to type the prompt in, and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm just typing this in because I want to show you all how you can use um, AI to help you. So I just typed a prompt. Let me share my screen. I just typed a prompt in ChatGPT. I did not do this before going live, but I just got this. I just had this idea, and I wanted to share this because this could save you some time. We talked about using LinkedIn. We talked about talking to people who you know. And so there was a question that Kathy asked, what do I do if I don't have a an extensive network, right? So this is what I did. I typed in I'm seeking, and you can change the title, you can change the city, but I put I'm seeking a mentor who is a director in healthcare administration. Help me find professionals in the Tampa Bay area and share the source, right? I'm going to put this in the chat because I want you all to be able to practically use this. You just change the job title, you change the city, who is a, and then I'm going to put change job title, and then in the and then I'm gonna do add city, right? And so you can actually use this prompt yourself, and you can have ChatGPT help you to find a mentor, right? So I talked about the traditional ways, and so give me just a second. I need to plug up my laptop so that the live doesn't stop because my battery is low. So bear with me. I'm going to actually just take my computer along as I grab my charger. But you can use that prompt, change the job title, change the city, right? And then you can information. So bear with me. I'm going to continue sharing my screen, but I just want to make sure that you all are equipped with all the tools that will help you to find a mentor and do so effortlessly. So I put in that prompt, and this is what it said. It searched the Tampa Bay area for healthcare leaders at the director, executive director level who appeared relevant to healthcare administration. And I chose this. This has never been my field, right? But I use this as an example because I had someone who I helped previously, and I didn't even try this approach. But I wanted to give you all another approach because AI can save you time. It can be a force multiplier. And so it gave me the parameters that it used. So healthcare administration, hospital operations, quality administration, or healthcare leadership. And it prioritized people whose public professional profiles gave enough evidence to make them plausible in terms of mentorship, right? Rather than just giving you someone based on their title. And it even gives why each person would be considered. So you can see the person, the professional, the role that they're currently in, the organization where they work, why they were considered, and then you can actually click on the link to their profile. So it gave several different options. And then it gives the top 3 based on, it gives the factors that it made the determination. And it's also telling you don't limit it to the people who came in the search. It's giving you other ways to deliberately build relationships. And I just encourage you to use that same prompt, change the job title, change the city, and now save yourself some time when you've already talk to people who you know, because that's the best approach, right? First, to talk to people who you know. But if you, as someone asked, don't have a very extensive network of professionals, then this is an approach that you can use, and I think everybody has access to at least use ChatGPT in some capacity. So I want to get back to the questions, because I know I need to talk about, because I've talked about what to look for, what to avoid, but I want to get to the questions too, and I want to also get to how to structure your mentor sessions so that every conversations every conversation that you have with your mentor, you can move the needle. So I'm gonna, before I answer, I see your question, Russ, and so I am gonna answer your question, and I see Anita has a question as well. So Russ, I'm going to get to your question. You have, should your mentor have the same career path or just similar experience? So that's an excellent question, Russ. So you want someone, and it can be a combination of both. You can have some mentors who have the same career path. You can have some who have a similar experience. There's no one size fits all. You just want someone who has been successful at what you're wanting to achieve. So let's just say, for instance, and I'm going to go back to the example that I used with healthcare. You want a director of healthcare administration, but you have someone who has been in leadership in healthcare. They've been at a director role. They've been in an executive role. It doesn't have to be the exact title that you want, but it has to be the level of success that you want, and they have to be able to give you insight on how to achieve that, right? So it can be either or. It can be someone with this who had the same career path. It could be someone who had a different one. They just need to be successful at what you're wanting to achieve and to be able to give you guidance and insight. And so it can be similar experience. It can be the same career path. It doesn't matter, just as long as they can give you those strategies and they've been successful at what you're wanting to do and you have the same values. So excellent question, Russ. Thank you for presenting that. Now I want to get into how you can make every session meaningful. So before going into each session with your mentor, before going into the first session, you want to go into that with your SMART goals written, your SMART career goals, and your purpose written down, so that you can tell them, here's what I want to achieve, here's my purpose, what do you recommend in terms of how I can achieve this? Are there any blind spots that I have? So that would be going into the first mentorship session. You want to go into every session with a pen and paper or an iPad, something to take notes with, and you want to take notes during your session. And then if you're having a session with your mentor that is a subsequent session, it's not the first session, you want to come into that session with the notes from your prior session, with your accomplishments from your prior session. And you want to let them know that you appreciate their time for meeting with you again today. Always thank them. Let them know that in the last session, give a short recap of what you talked about and what you've accomplished, how you've applied the advice that they've given you, and give your mentor credit. Anytime you do something and your mentor gave you the advice or a coach gave you advice, give them credit, right? And then you want to also go into every session with an open mind. You want to go into every session ready to learn something new and with the mindset that you're going to apply what you are being given as guidance. And also, when you go into each session, ask questions. When you're not clear, ask questions, and then also affirm that you're understanding what is being relayed. And then also ask your mentor if it's okay for you to, acknowledge them and give them, credit for, the insight and the guidance that they gave you. Some people don't want the public, praise, so you want to make sure you ask them as well. But go into each session with a paper and pen or with an iPad, something to take notes. Go in with an open mind. Go in with a list of questions that you answered, and if it's and then the first session you go in with your written down purpose and your written down SMART career goals or business goals, and then or life goals, and then with the repeat sessions you come in with your prior notes, what you've accomplished, your achievements since the last time, and then or before you leave the session, confirm with your mentor the time and day that you need to meet on the next occasion. On your first mentor, ask how frequently your mentor would desire to meet with you. So I want to get to one last area, the proven strategies to maximize your mentorship and accelerate your purpose aligned success. So, this is the thing. We've talked about a lot of the strategies so far, but the other strategies that I want to talk about that I haven't yet talked about, and I've said it, in having multiple mentors, but you always want to have at least 2 or 3 mentors at any given time. And as you are accomplishing the career goals, the career smart goals, and the life goals, and the business goals that you have, you want to go back and write down more goals, right? We're always developing, we're always becoming better, we're always finding ways that we can better align with purpose. So you want to ensure as well that you're writing down new SMART goals to ensure you're still having something to work towards. And you want to periodically assess, how can you mentor others and what other mentors, because you might have different types of goals. Some of your goals may be career goals, some of your goals may be business goals, some of your goals may be academic goals, some of your goals may be goals that will solve problems in the world. So you want to ensure that you're constantly evaluating where you are, reflecting more mentors or make any changes to mentor relationships. So I do appreciate all of you viewing on today, all of the questions and comments. It looks like all of the questions have come in from YouTube, so thank you all for viewing today on YouTube. I see there's a question from Anita. What should you prepare before your first conversation with a potential mentor? And thank you for that great question, Anita. We just talked about that, but to reiterate, you want to have a list of your SMART goals written down before your first meeting with a mentor. You also have to purpose down so that when you go into that session, you're able to tell them and I want to ensure that I'm able to achieve these goals, but then also, prepare yourself mentally that you're going to be open-minded and you're going to receive the advice and the guidance that a mentor is giving you. So I do appreciate all of you for tuning in today to this episode of the Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson podcast. It has been certainly a joy to talk to you about I Need a Mentor as we've continued in our career clarity series. Now, I throughout this career clarity series, and we're going to continue in the series, but I want to ensure you have multiple resources that we've been sharing with individuals who have subscribed. So if you desire to receive all of those resources, I do encourage you to subscribe on YouTube at Dr. April D. Dobson. But if you desire to receive all of those resources in your inbox via email or via or receive updates of resources and updates regarding episodes. For episode updates, subscribe on YouTube at Dr. April D. Dobson. And for all the resources in the Career Clarity series and other resources that are available, I encourage you to use the link in the chat. It's a short electronic form that you can complete, and we'll send you all the Career Clarity resources. And so for that, it's just simply in your name, your email address, just simply listing your contact information, and that will ensure that you receive all of the information and any other insights and resources that are available for professionals. So again, it's just your name, your email address, your phone number, and if you desire to put your organization, you can put that, but it's not a mandatory requirement. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in today. There'll be one promotional video at the end on the Purpose Aligned Life Premium Group Coaching Program. And if you're interested in more information on the Purpose Aligned Life Premium Group Coaching Program, you can book a strategy session, and that strategy session will actually allow you to have your specific questions answered. You'll have an opportunity to have an assessment of whether or not the Purpose Aligned Life Premium Group Coaching Program is suitable for you, and you can have that one-on-one strategy session via Zoom. So I thank you all for tuning in today. Purpose Today with Dr. Abel Dobson podcast, as we talked about purpose aligned career. I need a mentor in our Career Clarity series. I hope you have an amazing purpose filled day and a phenomenal week. And we look forward to seeing you if you're able to tune in on this Thursday, the 3rd of September at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Here's one final sponsorship message. Make it an amazing purpose-filled day and a phenomenal week. Thank you all for tuning in.
Dreaming of writing a book, launching a podcast, or creating a digital course? Ready to finally align your career, creativity, and impact? The Purpose Aligned Life Premium Coaching Cohort is here to help you turn purpose into reality. You'll receive tailored services, a personalized one-on-one assessment, 10 weekly group sessions, and exclusive strategy session, all for your desired transformation.